Morning, everyone. Hope you all had a good Friday. Yesterday was my birthday. Uh, kind of fiddled around, did a little work outside, finished up the front porch, got all the paint off the surface of the board, just working down in the cracks and crevices so I can get ready to prep it for the my girlfriend wants to put this, not like Thompson's water seal, but like a wood stain or something on it. So that's fine. I don't care. Then we went out to had Mexican last night, and the portions are getting way smaller now. The burrito used to be one of them. Used to be a great big fat burrito you'd get, and that thing, it was maybe like that. It wasn't very big at all. Then I got to wear the sombrero. I wanted to wear it, so I had it. And then I had a Miller Lite. Then we went to Home Depot and picked up some things, some stuff I got to take care of at one of my rentals. Then stopped by Kroger's. I like going to Kroger's on Friday because if you go onto their app on Friday and you click that coupon for Friday only, you get 4 times the points. So if you go grocery shopping once a week, just what little bit you get 4 times the points. But other than that, it wasn't too bad. So today is kind of mellow. It's real windy again. It's gloomy. It's going to storm today. I'm just watching all the clouds around here because our weather comes from the west, southwest, west, northwest. And I just got done having some Cocoa Puffs. So I was having my Cocoa Puffs. This medical helicopter, something pretty loud. Yeah, med flight. This caught my eye, and it's kind of a long story. I'm gonna read like the caption of which is the news part. It says, Blue Owl Capital's CEO, whatever his name is, and some other guy that got involved with it, have reportedly removed over 130 million shares each as collateral personal loans on April 17th. Okay. So, and then I'm like, why would they remove those? Well, when you get reading here, it says the action and the reasoning and all this. And once I put 2 and 2 together, and they basically took their loan, their stocks, their shares they had in the company, and like kind of bought them back with the company, and in return used the money that the buyback was for and gave it out as a personal loan. And here's why they would have done that, is because as Blue Owl Capital's share price continues to plummet, which all the all the private equity companies they're all tanking, and like I said, I'm just waiting any day for this thing to pop. But they did that because as the shares go down, then the people that had, like these 2 individuals here, their shares would have a margin call on it, and if you do the stocks and all that, you got margin calls and all that. That's where the stock falls below a certain price, and then you borrowed someone else's shares or borrowed money to buy this stuff with, so it gets a margin call on it, which if that would happen and that many shares, it would just not just, as the price goes down, it would go boom, like it was hit the floor. So they're trying everything they can do to hide this, and I've exposed it. Other YouTubers have exposed it, and it's like I said, I'm just waiting. It's any day this thing's going to pop, and when it does, then that's going to make things even worse, especially like with not just with your 401k is going to lose money, but the real estate that they own, whether it be commercial, residential, all that stuff's going to have to get liquidated and forced sale. Not, oh, we're going to throw it on the market and we'll find buyers. No, you force sell it. I mean, you gotta, like, here's a list of buyers. This is what they'll pay you for it. So that they're going to pick this stuff up for pennies. A lot of this commercial real estate, I've been reading and watching news stories and some other YouTubers that have taken like millions of dollars. I'm checking out my dog. I'm eating grass. He does that crap all the time. Then he coughs it up and everything. It's gross. But they're taking a lot of this commercial real estate and they're turning it into residential. They're trying to make it like apartments, townhouses and stuff, because a lot of these places have went bankrupt. The bankruptcies for private business is like, I think I had it in here. Let me see if I can pull it up. I had it on my phone. What I do when I take a screenshot is I take a picture of the screenshot with this phone, and then I try to read from it. But that was the last one I took. But because I don't have any cell signal with this per se, I just run through the Wi-Fi. But it was like, I forget what they said, the bankruptcy filings were up so how many percentage on the businesses and stuff, and that was around, if I remember right, because how old was what was I, 30 when '08 hit. It was about, I'm gonna say 2007 when all that stuff started happening. And then 8 you had your bankruptcies. 9 you had your 2009 you had your bankruptcies, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's why I said this stuff's all repeating, and I'm loving it because I'm going to get some real good deals. There have been people who've made some comments on my Facebook. Even people made comments on my YouTube videos I make that I'm taking advantage of people. No, they just made bad choices. And it wouldn't be the fact that, like, if someone loses their job, it's because the fact that they got too much debt. They've went out and they got a mortgage and they got a car. I mean, they got all these loans, and that's their own doing. Don't go in debt further than what you can handle in the event you lose your job. But yeah, I'm gonna buy this stuff for pennies on a dollar. I'm gonna buy more real estate. Like I said, I will be buying a golf cart by the time we leave in the fall. And I'm going to get it real cheap because somebody's going to need money to make their car payment or the house payment or pay their lawyer for a bankruptcy filing. I'm going to get stuff real cheap. And that's why I say cash is king. If you guys, I need to get a haircut. Man, I need a haircut. Look how long that stuff is. If you guys can just keep setting cash aside, cut back on what you're putting in your 401k and just put that into a money market or high yield savings. You're going to be better off doing that. That's what I would do. You ain't got to do what I tell you to do. You do whatever you want. But cash is king, and you're going to pick this stuff up for nothing. And it's awesome. I mean, there was, like in Florida, the short sales are starting to pop up, sporadically, just like the foreclosures. Like I said, this stuff's going to pick up. There's going to do sporadically. And then it's going to start picking up and picking up and picking up. As time goes on, the volume will pick up. But these short sales in these neighborhoods, like if you got your house listed and the house next door goes up for short sale, and they're taking $80,000 less or $100,000 less, you can't do that. Especially if you bought your house and you're still good on your mortgage, but you can't take that kind of a loss. Some people are. They're wanting to get out because they know that they don't take their loss, and that what loss they can eat now, the loss is going to be even greater by the time that they do have to sell. Or, some people plan on retiring and leaving, and they're going to use their house as, that's their retirement. And, you can sell it now at a small loss, or be stuck there and be miserable because you wanted to go do stuff in life. or take a even bigger loss when you are ready to go. Sometimes it's best to plan ahead. Like in Key West in particular, we stayed at a reminds me of like a Melrose Place type setup. It had 6 buildings, and there were 2 townhouse condos per building, and they were 2-story. And there was a guy that came in there when we were staying, and he had 2 of those for sale. And I was talking to the guy that him and his wife run it. They were from Denmark. They moved down to Key West, but they were from Denmark, and they managed everything. But of course, they also lived there, so they owned the one they were in. And he was telling me that guy, as I asked him, I said, "What year and how low did prices here in the Keys get?" And he told me 2011 was the bottom. And he said it was miserable down there. He said there was hardly anybody there. There was very few bars that were open. But the condos, townhouses where we were at, this guy picked them up. I think it was either $225,000 or $250,000 that he picked up 2 of them. So let's say he had $500,000 and he paid $250,000. So he had $500,000 in 2 of those. And in 2021, he sold both of those for $1.5 million. And when the guy was there, I'm like, I told him, I said, the prices are still going up. He said, he goes, I'm in my 50s. He said, I've made my money. He said, I got these, I've tripled my money. I'm done. He goes, I'm good. And that's smart, You double, triple your money. Yeah, prices can keep going up, but you still made a profit. Don't look at it as if I would hold on to it, like let's say Bitcoin, for instance. I'm going to use this as an example. You bought it for $20,000, you sold it for $80,000, and it went up to $120,000. Don't kick yourself and beat yourself up because of what the difference of what you sold it for versus where it went. You still made a profit. You succeeded. You won at that game. That's the whole thing. If you make a profit, you didn't do anything wrong. You did exactly everything right that you wanted to do. And the whole thing is to turn a profit. But, he said he turned his profit, and he was headed to Tennessee, I think. Because, Tennessee's a no income tax state. They do tax dividends, I do believe. But outside of that, you have no income tax. But you're going to see that, it's like I said, they're sporadic now. You can get on Zillow and type in short sale, and it'll show you where all the short sales are at. But as time goes on, it's going to pick up. Now here was another article that I already knew this, but let me pull it back up again. This thing is so slow. I'm so sorry. I try to be fairly prepared when I do these, but sometimes this thing is so slow. Here it is. Click on the article. This is from Realtor.com. 1 in 7 homes does not have home insurance as premiums skyrocket. That's true. Now, if you have depends on what kind of mortgage you have. Like, usually you get a mortgage and, you pick your insurance, and then that and the taxes, that's your escrow part of it. But some people they do like a cash out refi. The bank, credit union, or whoever you use really doesn't check to see if you do have insurance or not. And a lot of people, like I had a house one time, it was a rental, and I did a cash out refi on it. They didn't really check about my insurance, but if someone would happen to have like a regular mortgage and then cancel their insurance, then it can be forced coverage put on you from the lender. But if you did a cash out refi, which those have just blown up, the last 9 months, and if you can actually cancel your insurance, but better hope something doesn't happen, because the bank can call your note or anything like that. And the one thing with these insurance companies is, especially in Florida, like I think Mom can only get Citizens or whatever it's called down there. One of her neighbors, I've talked to the guy. He's friendly, and he lives like behind mom one street, but on down towards the other end. Go away, fly. Go away. And he does like handyman contracting work. And this past July 4th, you know, there was people let off all their fireworks and their bottle rockets and all that. Well, a bottle rocket had landed on his roof, and down there they got rubber membrane roofs, and it molded a little hole in it. So he climbs up there and has his helper with him. They take a picture of it, they cut it, they fix it, he gets everything back to where it needs to be, send it to his insurance company, and his insurance company cancels him because they said he's not a licensed contractor, and it's on his own house. And he's like, but I've been doing handyman work now for the last 20 years, and I've lived in the same place. Y'all know what I do for a living. I do all my own work, and they canceled him. All he was able to get was liability. So, you got people like him. I mean, granted, his trailer probably paid off. But even the places over in the other end of Bradenton that I was driving through, I mean, there weren't bad neighborhoods, just the houses were all tore up. They didn't have insurance. That's why the houses are tore up and they're still not fixed. I mean, it's been almost 2 years now. There's still tarps on stuff, roofs, walls. They got, plywood up. That's the whole thing with that insurance is, it's expensive unless you can self-insure. I mean, if I was to not have insurance on, none of my properties, if that was not even an option anymore, I would take what I was paying out or take a little bit more to set into an account each month at the bank. So if something did happen, I have a little reserve to try to cover any damage or something like that. On my rentals, I think, now I'm only insuring the structure and liability because they're rentals. I think I pay $750 a year per rental is about what I pay. Now my homeowners is way more than that, but that's not bad on a rental. I mean, because like I said, you're only insuring the structure and liability. But shop around on stuff like that. I would stay away from what I call Snake Farm. I've dealt with Snake Farm. I've dealt with Nationwide, and Nationwide is not on your side. Of course, you guys know from the auto accident I was in a little over a year ago, and the girl had Progressive, and I don't like them. They're definitely not going to like me now, since they're fighting everything, and now we're suing them. And but shop around on that kind of stuff. Not just and the cheapest coverage ain't the best. Make sure you read through that stuff and read the fine print. We'll give you an example here. One of my rentals, which I bought the house in 2000, or shit, when did I buy that house? I bought that house in 98. That was the first house I ever bought, and I lived in it for 4 years. But of course, I'm on my renter's policy. I think it's a DP3 or DP2. I don't know which one it is. But anyway, it's set up on kind of a hill. I mean, that part of town is not low by any means, because it all slowly goes down towards the creek, and it's at least a good, probably almost a mile towards the creek there in town. But in the basement, it's got a sump hole. And of course, it's groundwater down there because at the bottom it's all dirt. And we had some real heavy rain one time, and this was 5 or 6 years ago, I'm guessing. Well, the water got in there, and I got a sump pump in there, but something happened. I forget what it was, but the water got up just enough, and it got into the furnace. So I tried to put a claim in, for water damage. Go away, bug. And they said I needed to have flood insurance. And I'm like, but there's never been a flood up here. It can't flood. If it floods up here, it's bad. Like, there's a lot of dead people. But it wouldn't cover it. So that's just stuff you got to look out for. But like, I mean, heck, down at Mom, where she's at, and her trailer park, um, it's set a little bit lower than the ones around it, so the wind really doesn't get in there as bad. But she has to have, let's see here, she has to have hurricane insurance, wind insurance, flood insurance, and I forget how much she pays for all that. And then honestly, I've told Mom, I'm like, I don't know if I'd even pay that shit, for what you're paying. And and they're only insuring your trailer for what, 30, 40 grand. I don't know if I'd do it. If something happened, just have the trailer ripped out and sell the lot off. I mean, you're still going to make your money. I mean, granted, she bought this place back in, oh God, when did she buy that? It was back when everything was all crap, and I think she paid like 20 grand for it or something like that back then. But yeah, I don't know. Just you got to look at the fine print on this stuff. But with these short sales popping up in Florida, and they're starting to pop up sporadic, there's a lot of people that's not from Florida. They're from the Midwest, the Northeast, out West. They overpaid for these properties because they were in a hurry to get down there. They bought into the hype. These realtors that were not realtors in that area, during the GFC, and they're all feeding into it. And now they got in there, and they can't, and they're taking these huge losses. But if they take these huge losses, that's going to hit them in a wallet or their purse, and it's going to affect the area that they're in. Whether they went back to California or excuse me, wherever they ended up going to. So it's just like a job loss, like one layoff. They did the math on that, and one layoff trickles out to be 3 jobs affected out of it. The person laid off, and then because that person that got laid off no longer has the income to spend in the local economy, so it affects other people that work. And but that's just stuff they don't want to get into, like on the media, and like tell you how bad things are. Because like I told you, when DHL shut down 8,000 jobs for this area and the population, that's not a lot, but it's spread because they weren't going to McDonald's, they weren't getting their car fixed anymore. Oh, that's something else I was going to tell you. When I got my truck fixed from where the dude hit me down there in Sunshine Key. Now, I only got the underneath fixed. I ain't got the body fixed yet. But they had to fix the upper lower ball joints and some other crap because he hit me pretty good. But I was amazed at how quick the shop got me in. And when I that told me that there's not many people getting their cars worked on because they don't have money. And that's why, like, all these repos were kicking up. And, there was another report that said that car repossessions was up like 29%. I think it was like this was last Q1. If they're not making their car payment, they wasn't paying on the insurance. Sure as hell they're not changing the oil, nothing in that. I'd stay away from used cars. Just like I stayed away from used cars that after 08 hit, because they didn't care. They ran the shit out of them. They didn't change oil. Probably hadn't been changed in 10,000 miles. Stuff like that. That's why I'm very leery about vehicles I buy. If you go buy a used vehicle, take it to a mechanic or someone, a good mechanic. I'll just make sure someone you trust, and they go through with a fine-tooth comb. Look for stuff that's going to go bad or things that were neglected. But anyway, I'm gonna go in and do some gaming this morning here on my see my fellows on EverQuest. Adventure Time, what's up, guys? So I'll let you see my dog. He's just in there looking at me. He loves being outside, just hanging out here and doing nothing. But I'll keep my eye on some more stuff, and things pop up, I'll let you guys know. But keep your eye on that private equity stuff, because that thing, I'm giving it any day to pop. It ain't gonna happen on a weekend, of course, because everything's closed. But it's gonna do real good. So when that happens, it's gonna get real good, and I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, have a good day, and I'll talk to you guys next time.